in the office, you did.
Okay, it's after 6. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We're going to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, and afterwards, Pastor Steve Young is lead us through tonight's invocation. Pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There, thank you. Greetings. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we give thanks to you for your continued blessings upon our county and the communities within Lee County. Today we come to you in need of your wisdom and to pray that your presence and your peace, your guidance during these proceedings of this council meeting tonight. And we ask that your spirit would influence our thoughts, direct our words and decisions toward a good path, a right path that brings fairness and good judgment to all in our county. May you continue to bless and provide and protect the people and the leadership of Lee County. We ask all these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Young. We'll move through roll call, Nancy.
Sure. Hickory,
Here.
Bivens,
Here.
Book,
Here.
Dallas, Friel,
Here.
Gascoigne,
Here.
Hudson,
Present.
Huss,
Here.
Kitson,
Present.
Copine,
Here.
Minimi,
Here.
Naylor. Present. Pearson,
Present.
Sheline,
Here.
Shippert. Here. Scrogstead,
Here.
White.
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Zeman,
Here.
Olson.
Here. Thanks, Nancy. Under announcements, I got please mute or turn your cell phones off so they don't interrupt the meeting. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Liram tonight. He's 8 years on the county board. He served on finance the whole time. He's been very active and helpful in his community and this board and everything. Liram, we want to thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, and I'll miss you guys too.
Yep, we'll miss you, Liram. So moving on, we got the approval of the board minutes. Is there any changes or corrections to the October 17th regular county board meeting? If not, they're gonna be approved as presented. We had, moving on to 7, we have no monthly Joseph Meyer resolutions. Zoning, the reports in your packet or in your on-board to view with their activities and petitions. We'll move down. We have no petitions going to the ZBA. We have no petitions going to the Planning Commission. We have 2 petitions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. And we'll start out with the first one. We got a resolution, petition number 24 P1631, Sanjay Desai, who's in the process of purchasing a portion of certain real property currently identified as PIN number 111631 100 005 015. Excuse me. Is there a motion to approve this resolution for 24-P1631? Mr. Friel moves. Mr. Kitten seconds it. Any discussion on this resolution? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to number two, resolution petition number 24-P-1633. It's Anthony and Lisa Winstead as owners of certain real property identified as PIN number 12-14-17-300-001. Is there a motion to approve the resolution for this petition number 24-P-1633? Mr. Bivens moves, Mr. Scrogstad seconds it. Any discussion on this resolution petition? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. For letter E, we have no petitions coming from the planning commission. So we'll move down to number 9. We got administrator monthly update and board member comments. Jeremy, would you like anything you have to share with the board?
Yeah, just real quickly, this is the last board meeting of the year, and I wanted to thank, expressly with very much gratitude, all the work that this county board has put in, along with all the departments and every single staff member that is part of this government organization. We work tirelessly to be efficient and spend, the county taxpayers' dollars the best we can through our services. And I hope that shows and shines through the services we provide. So I just wanted to thank everybody for their continued effort there. A quick note on the Lee County broadband effort that we have continued to work on for the better part of 7 months. We have 4 different internet service providers that are working with the county right now on BEAD applications to provide fiber access throughout the county. This is, specified and to impact rural communities the most. And we're really excited, hopefully in the near future, to speak a little bit more intelligently on that as we were able to open that up for more public comment. But in the near future, I think a lot of the efforts that the focus group put towards with other counties and communities throughout the state will prevail here. And just one of those other pieces of service that we're looking to do is make sure that everybody has access and is able to be connected as we continue to be in a world that is highly connected. Thank you.
Any board member comments at this time? Mr. Kitson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know it's not on the agenda. We can't make a vote on it, but I would like to strongly recommend that tonight we make the changes. So we only pay 1 per diem for these 2 meetings. Save the county some money.
I would agree with that. Any other comment about that? Thanks, Tom. Any other board member comments? We'll take care of that next month when we fill out the per diem sheets, and I'll make a note with Becky. And we'll have to have it approved, of course. I want to thank everybody too to make the last couple of years simple and easy for me, and thank everybody for the participation, to the committee chairs and vice chairs and all the board members. So let's keep moving on. So we'll go down to county organizations. Carla Belzer is here tonight with U of I Extension to report the updates.
What about public comment?
Oh, yeah, I thought we had public comment after that.
What's that? Oh, all right. Sorry. How did I get? Yep.
Right there.
All right. Sorry, Carla. Thank you. Somebody needs to straighten me out here. So now we have public comments, and I have one that signed up. I don't know if there's any more out there. We'll go from here. It's Adam.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for having us here today. My name is Adam Szymanski. This is my colleague, Anne-Marie Williams. We are here on behalf of GeneX Solar. We just wanted to briefly introduce ourselves and our project. I know you have a very full agenda today. So GeneX is a company that has been in business for over 15 years. Our headquarters is in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have a regional office in Indianapolis, Indiana. And both Anne-Marie and I are somewhat local. Project that we are currently working on. We've been here in the community for just under a year. It is in the northeast corner of Lee County. It is roughly 180 megawatts, and we're very proud to say, and not a very common thing in our industry that all of our landowners are longtime Lee County residents and live in our project communities.
Yeah, I'll just add, I am a director of community engagement. So my entire role is to be in the community. We just got our office keys tonight, and we just left the chamber after hours meeting. So we're here all the time, and we'd be happy to speak to any of you after the meeting or when we're here in town or over at our new office. So thanks for having us tonight. We won't take up any more of your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anybody else there. Carla, sorry about this. Thank you.
Hi, my pleasure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members, and guests for allowing me to present our most recent update about what Illinois Extension is doing here in Lee County. It is always an honor and a privilege to share just a very small piece of the impact that we're making here in Lee County. So I just wanted to start off and share, Illinois Extension has recently concluded a overhaul of our 10-year strategic plan. So that is a statewide effort that guides all of our work over the next 10 years. So we've kind of realigned our mission statement to what we actually do in our Illinois counties, and we've identified 8 strategic priorities. So why this is important here in Lee County, our next step with this information is in early 2025, we are going to undergo a very broad local needs assessment. So I might be reaching out to some of you to get some feedback about what some local needs are, what some local trends are, so we can identify those and address those through our plans of work. So it's a very exciting time. We've kind of honed our motto into lifelong learning, lifelong impact, because that's really what Illinois Extension is here to do in every county across the state, but specifically here in Lee County, we are looking to make a lifelong impact and a lifelong learning for all Lee County residents. So I almost always start my reports off by sharing what we're doing with our local Lee County youth. So on the next slide, you can see we're undertaking this effort to help all youth in the state of Illinois be beyond ready for whatever their futures bring. So beyond ready for their careers, beyond ready to serve and engage in their communities, and be good members of their families and just good citizens overall. So what we've identified through some of our research is that 77% of young people say that out of school activities boost their confidence and also help them manage their stress. So this is pretty significant because 4-H is the largest youth development organization, not only in Lee County, but also in the world. So when I'm kind of sharing some of the things that we've been doing with Lee County youth over the last 2 months, I just really want you to focus on and think about how these programs are not only building confidence, but preparing youth for whatever their tomorrow brings. So with that, one of the programs that we've just wrapped up in the last couple of months was a cultural leadership program that we did in conjunction with Sauk Valley Community College. And I know some of you are familiar with our partnership that we have with Sauk. I like to highlight Sauk is an amazing asset to this community. They're doing some really great things out there, and we are beyond thrilled that we have such a strong partnership with them. One way that we are seeing the benefit is their reach is massive. So we can provide these same programs out of our Lee County office in Amboy, but when we partner with Sauk and they help us market those programs, we are expanding our reach. We're reaching youth and adults that we might not reach otherwise. So we had a cultural leadership program where youth explored other cultures through games, crafts, and food. So they looked at they explored Asian and Pacific Islands and Belgium. So that's quite the range there. But the whole goal is to get youth excited about other cultures and kind of identify differences, but also similarities. We also just wrapped up our Health Rocks program. This is a great, again, another partnership program that we have with Dixon Public Schools and KSB Hospital. And the whole goal with Health Rocks is to inspire youth to make lifelong healthy choices, but also expose them to health careers. So it's an 8-week program that we do in the schools in 5th grade. Here in Dixon, and we go in weekly with a health lesson about different things, including hygiene, nutrition awareness, body systems knowledge, brain health, what your muscles do, and then we conclude with that career exploration tour at KSB. And if you're ever in KSB Hospital on the day those youth are there, we try to keep them as quiet as possible, but they just get so excited about learning about all the different health careers, it gets really challenging to do that. We also participated in the Pathways program out at SAUC. We saw over 1,200 local 8th graders to get them excited about future careers. So we answered career-related questions about extension, but we also provided an activity to help them identify what careers they might be suited for. So our idea in terms of participating with this is we want to get youth aware of what 4-H can do in terms of career development and how it can help them not only learn skills, but identify and kind of explore future careers. So the next couple slides are really just kind of ongoing programs. So we currently have a art exhibit with the next picture show. So if you want to stop by there, you can see our 4-H art projects that were specially selected at our local fair. So again, gives these kids another opportunity to expand their confidence and to have a formal art show and be recognized with the community. The next slide features our ongoing Kids in the Kitchen program. So this is our program that starts in the garden, and in the non-growing season, it ends in the kitchen. So these youth meet once a month and they learn all sorts of kitchen skills. This program's been going on for a couple of years, but I wanted to highlight the fact that not only do kids learn kitchen skills, but they also have an opportunity to make and taste recipes using the items of the month. So we've had 2 of them so far, and the kids picked Brussels sprouts as their first featured vegetable. So that was kind of interesting, a little interesting to find recipes with Brussels sprouts. But again, the idea is to get kids excited about vegetables, fruits and vegetables, help them have lifelong healthy choices with that. I wanted to highlight also our federations. That's the next slide. This is a specific 4-H club that primarily focuses on youth leadership. So this is our youth in 8th grade and above. They can join the Federation Club. We recently honored or elected some officials for that club. This Federation Clubs, they focus again on developing those leadership skills specifically, but they also do community service projects. A few other highlights just quickly, because again, I know you have a long meeting tonight. Our Master Gardeners presented at Conservation Days with 3rd graders, local Lee County 3rd graders in partnership with Soil and Water. So getting kids again excited about the parts of plants that we eat. We celebrated National 4-H Week to promote and highlight all the work that 4-H does in the community. So switching gears just a little bit, I wanted to highlight some work that our SNAP-Ed staff have been doing in terms of nutrition awareness. So we did have a Walk for Hunger event in September. You might be surprised to learn that approximately 13% of Lee County residents deal with food insecurity, and that includes over 1,000 children. So our Walk for Hunger event was meant to raise awareness about that, to also raise some support for local food pantries. We partnered with lots of local agencies, and the event really netted over 2,000 meals for our local food pantry as well as providing some education about how we can eat healthy. The next slide identifies our Great Apple Crunch. This is a program that we did here in local schools to get kids excited about apples. And the event was so successful that the kids were asking, when can we do another one? And they identified that they wanted to learn about carrots. Now, there's not a great carrot crunch, but it is something that we can definitely pursue and get kids, the information that they want and need to focus on healthy eating. So just to kind of wrap up, I wanted to highlight, we do lots of programs across the lifespan. You can see in these pictures, our master gardeners are working with some older adults in terms of gardening. They attend Heritage Square every single month in terms of therapeutic gardening, which can help people cope with stress and reduce some mental health concerns. We also have our ongoing brain health programs here in the county. Mike Delaney did some work with marketing rural assets. There was an event held in October to highlight the benefits that community leaders can, when they focus on marketing their local areas and regional tourism. So that is something that we brought to the local area. We also participate in lots of different community education events. You know, we believe everyone in Lee County should benefit from Illinois Extension, not just the people who happen to run across an ad or follow us on Facebook. So when we go to these community events, our goal is to provide that education in little snippets, bite-sized pieces, again, to benefit all residents in Lee County. The two last things that I want to talk about, we were really excited to offer a very first pumpkin smash out at Sauk Valley Community College back in November. So this is a one-of-a-kind activity that we've done here in Lee County. There's actually only 8 locations in the entire, or 8 counties in the entire state that did a pumpkin smash. The idea here is to prevent pumpkins from going into the landfill, because there's problems when pumpkins break down in landfills. It creates methane gas. It can contribute and leach into the water system. It's also not a great idea to throw them in fields because in Illinois, it's actually considered littering, and it's not the best food for wildlife. So in the November 2nd, we actually held a pumpkin smash out at Sauk. We prevented over 778 pounds of pumpkins from entering the landfill. So this is going to be an annual event. We were featured on WQAD for a live TV segment, again, to highlight that. The nearest pumpkin smash to our area was actually in Macomb. So we look for that event to grow in the future. And then finally, I want to share the impact of our mental health trainings that we've been doing. So this is a partnership that we have with Sinisippi Centers. My co-presenter and I, we tend to do 3 to 5 mental health first aid trainings every single year. To date this year, we've done 10. We've had 7 requests from community businesses, other partners to offer this training. So that indicates to me that there's a need out there. And to date, we've taught over 137 individuals to be mental health first aid responders. So this is a picture of our most recent class. You might see some familiar Lee County residents in this picture. And I'm proud to say that this one class had an employee from a Lee County municipality attend. We've been in contact about providing this training, this very important training to the municipality managers. So very excited about that. I'll close with my final slide saying, you know, we're always seeking your input. So there's always ways to get a hold of me. Please call, email, catch me at a meeting. There's a QR code on this slide. There's a survey on this slide. We want to know what the needs are here in Lee County because we want to make that lasting impact. So with that, I want to say thank you again for having me tonight, again, in the middle of your long meeting. I would love to wish you all a happy holiday season, and we look forward to our future partnership in 2025. Yeah.
Thanks, Carla. I have a couple
Yes.
questions.
Yeah.
Does 4-H foster any programs where the families talked about, like relying on your family for love, support, education, those things?
Yeah, so we do have a program called Your Thoughts Matter that highlights the importance of, we like to call family resilience. That's not something we've had success in implementing here in Lee County, but we've tried in the past. One thing that I've recently learned through our ROE partnership is there are some pretty stringent regulations coming down for schools in terms of that type of programming. So it is on our radar to develop some efforts that we can present to schools in 2025 and present to those school counselors to say, this is how we can help meeting your tier 1 and maybe even tier 2 supports for kids that might have some mental health or struggles with some family support issues. So that's a great
Yeah,
question.
I want to make sure I understood right. So the school, because of whatever rules, is saying that they don't support a family program?
No, they do. And the ROE, again, part of my job is to also highlight collaborators and great community organizations that we have in our community. So the ROE does a lot of family programming. We also don't want to duplicate programming. So the schools are not saying that they don't support family programming. We don't necessarily have a ready-made curricula that we've had success with for family programming here in Lee County. But that is always something we're looking to develop with the right avenues and the right contacts.
And just one more question for you. Is 4-H a Christian organization?
It is not. It is non-religious. There's
Okay.
no religious affiliation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I see you everywhere. I see you at the college, but I don't see you in small towns.
Mhm.
Have you reached out to the small towns such as Papa, Stewart, Ashton, Franklin, Amboy,
Yes, a good.
Sublette, all the little towns out east? I know it's population, but have you been able to
That's a great
connect
question.
with those towns?
Yes, absolutely. And please remember too, what I present quarterly, I mean, I could really take up a lot of your time if I talked about every single thing we did in the past 2 or 3 months in Lee County. We have our master gardeners. They do a lot of library programming in our smaller towns. We find that that has been most successful. We do have 4-H clubs all throughout the county. So there is 4-H programming going on all throughout the county. So we're always open to additional partnerships as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more comments or questions for Carla? Thanks, Carla.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to the reports of standing committees, we got county services. Mr. Scruggs did.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. County Services met November 12th. And all of the County Services Department's reports will be available on the onboard agenda or on the agenda packet when it becomes available to the public. But there is one particular department that I do want to point out and bring up, and that is the election department. They reported that they had about 73.5% voter turnout during this election. It was slightly lower than last year's last presidential election. We have 22,023 registered voters, and 16,197 of those casted votes on election day. And of those votes, 2,138 were vote by mail. There was still some people that requested vote by mail packets that were never turned in. There were a couple that attempted to vote, and they still had their vote by mail out, and they weren't able to vote unless they brought in that ballot, which is a good protection for people trying to vote twice. So that's a good thing to have and to take note of, that our election department is on top of that. Of those votes, 4,568 of them were early voters. They were really busy. Every time you drove by here, there was quite a people coming in here. And then on election day, there were about 200 people that came in to register and are voted on that day. So I just want to take the time and thank those employees that worked in the election department that made our voting process very successful with very much integrity involved. Also, big shout out to all the election judges and those troubleshooters that were going around to the different polling places on election day to make sure everything was running smoothly. So, and that is my report.
Any questions or comments for Jack?
Just a quick comment.
Sure.
It appears that, oh, I'm looking at the, never mind. Everything's fine.
All right. Anybody else? Thanks, Jack. Move on to Public Safety Court Services, Mr. Copine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Safety met and the 12th also. The department heads that were present have submitted their reports and they'll be available in the packet as well. One comment that I'd like to make out of one of the reports on behalf of the sheriff's department has drawn a few questions of concern, apparently on violation of, what do I want to say, Jack? The Privacy Act on the flock camera.
Yeah, your comments about people feel that the flock camera system is an invasion of their privacy. Is that what you're thinking of?
That's what I was looking for. Basically, this device is utilized out in the public, no place privately that it would be used to violate your rights. It's becoming in my opinion, a justifiable expense and use. And what this camera does is detect stolen vehicles, any criminal activity by the potential driver or somebody that's in the vehicle, and it's a very effective tool. Law enforcement within the area of this camera that's being used is notified immediately or within a very short period of time of the information that was detected. And they can respond within a very short period of time. And I think I don't remember the exact number, I think something like 3 or 4 stolen vehicles, a couple of individuals with arrest warrants, a couple of fugitives. So it's an additional tool that's protecting all of us, whether we're on the county board, whether you're in the citizenship or not. It's a very effective tool, and I have to praise the use of it, not only by the sheriff's department, but by Dixon PD and all of the surrounding, law enforcement agencies that back the members of the sheriff's department and Dixon PD. So if there's ever any questions, contact one of us on the board. We're somewhat familiar with it, and we can address the concerns of any violations that you think you're being subjected to. Otherwise, it's a very effective tool. And
I've got a question on that. So when you say the flock cameras, right, they're tracking any vehicle, right? And they, I think the sheriff said that they could even track like a sticker, a specific sticker, a unique identifier on the car. Is that right?
it's similar to an officer conducting a research on information via the laptops that are in the squad cars.
Mhm.
So yes, it does track it out, and it's been pretty precise
Mhm.
over the period of time that they've had it.
So it's pretty, I think the concern, I think is a valid concern that it's pretty intense information on people's movements in general, just like your cell phone, you're purchasing your credit card. We've even seen that data where it ends up getting sent out to whomever. Do you happen to know for the flock cameras specifically, like who owns that company or where the data ends up going?
No, I am not personally, but I know. that
Jack,
there are-
do you want to answer that?
Jack's got it.
I've in another part of my life, I work with flock camera systems, so I'm very familiar with how the flock camera system works. I'm going to give you an example of what could help a situation. Let's say that somebody came to your house and they tried to break into your house, and all you got was a description that it was a pickup truck and it had a toolbox on the back of it. And what the police department can do is they can run a scan through their flock camera in that particular area where you live at, looking for a pickup with a toolbox on it. And it would, if that vehicle drove by that flock camera system, pickup truck, toolbox, or a bumper sticker, what you're talking about there, you can put in bumper sticker or toolbox. That's one of the options you can have. It'll list if a vehicle went through there, at what time. It could be that vehicle that came to your house, that tried burglarizing your house. It is just an extra step of finding a piece of information to help solve a crime. So that's what it's possible. The data is saved at the flock system. The vehicle, all it has is a photograph of the vehicle. It doesn't have who it is. They don't have access to the leads, which is the law enforcement agency data system, which is through the Secretary of State. So they don't have access to that. Only law enforcement has that. So when law enforcement runs that query looking for that particular vehicle, it pops up. They can see that this person is from Chicago because they can run that plate based on their information, or if they're local or whatever. So, it's just pieces of information that the police can start compiling information of who was there and who was not there. So and it's like I said, Flock will store that for 30 days only, and then it's gone. And so if you don't research that, if you don't look for those particular parameters within 30 days, then information's gone. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but that's just some sample information.
We got a question from the
Yeah.
back there. We don't normally take them this time, but what do you have?
I did speak out against the clock system last year, and I was assured that it was not in the budget for last year. I was not made aware of when this passed. When did this pass? When was this approved?
My understanding is Dixon Police Department do not have it. They have access to it, to the Sheriff's Department. My understanding, don't hold me corrected on that. The Sheriff's Department, I believe, got a grant to use this. Is my understanding on that? No. It's in their budget. It's in their budget.
They applied for the grant, they were awarded the grant, so he's got the capability of going and implementing it.
So it didn't cost it, but I tell you what, it's a worthy investment. It's just like having a set of handcuffs in your bat belt for the police department for that type of system.
About this before, 2 months ago, and there are plenty of people that disagree with its implementation, but we never got the option of speaking out against it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think maybe the question she's getting at is, as the county board, is there, and this might be an authority question, a legitimate one. Do we have discretion over, what's done in terms of safety? I know the sheriff has a lot of authority there. It's a simple question about that.
The sheriff is elected official and he can do what he sees fit. We control his budget.
So the budget, and therefore if he has the budget, he can go forth and do those things. Okay.
Any other questions or comments on this?
Any other questions?
Yes. King.
Yes, I just want to say a few years ago, Tollway, I know people know there's cameras out there, and I know of a homicide case that was solved by that camera out there in Route 26 going on I-88. They had a suspect, work with the state police and everybody, and denial, and that picture put that man who committed that murder in this area. And it's ultimately ended in a arrest and conviction for the murder of somebody by that camera. Because he had no other proof to put that individual in our area because he denied being in the area. But due to the fact that cameras similar to this Flock or LPR system, this is what happens. And if anybody ever seen the photos from the camera system out there, you really do not see the individual, doesn't identify anybody, always a picture of the vehicle and license plate. That's all it is.
Mr. Sheeline.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a comment that the sheriff has been giving us monthly reports, including the effectiveness of the Flock camera. When that program was proposed, I was skeptical for the cost involved and whether it'd be actually an effective tool or not. Last month's report, and I wish Sheriff was here so he could comment on it, but last month's report, the comment was that I think it was 3 stolen vehicles or two. It was three stolen vehicles, which is that were captured with the Flock camera, and which is unheard of. Stolen vehicles are nearly impossible to track down. And we had that in a month. So the effectiveness is unquestioned, and I'm supportive of the program.
I think that they're very effective. It's just everybody worries what they're doing with the data, who accesses the data, and maybe we could ask him to come in and explain to us who has access to that and how it works.
Bob, I thank you for making that comment because I think we can agree that we want to catch criminals. I think that also at the same time, we can be worried, who's in control of the data. Is it the good guys or the bad guys? We had a government hack last year that impacted all counties. I'm not saying Flock was hacked, but those things are legitimate considerations, I believe. Thank you.
Definitely. I'll ask him maybe next month we can have him come in and inform us how it all works. Mike, do you have anything else in your report?
That's all I have for my report.
Any other questions or comments? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
We'll go to Facilities and Maintenance Committee, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our committee met last week. Everything's in the onboard. A few things to point out: the new air system over in the new courts building has been completed, and we're finalizing the last payment to go out to Allied Services. The project came in slightly over budget, and I mean very slightly over budget. We did the courtroom that we needed for Judge Klon. The courtroom's operational. His offices are complete. We're still working through some bugs in the system, which will happen for 3 or 4 months, 5 months down the road during the heating season. But we've got warranties on all this stuff, but that project's coming to a close. We finished a project over here in the VAV system. That's been completed, and we have a little turnover in our group. We had a new hire last month. He's working out real well. He replaced one of the people that resigned. Then we have somebody that's retiring January, and we're currently searching for another person right now. But our facility and maintenance group is doing a phenomenal job, and we've got a lot of cool things going on. And the group that we have right now is really working good together. That's all I have.
To, just go through the Allied project, it was like 4.2 million. And I think we are 1% over budget, which I think that was some add-ons we did with the courtroom, correct?
Yes. Yeah, the courtroom got probably 500 or 600 square foot bigger than what we originally budgeted for, or else we would have hit the budget. But that's very, very small a percentage over.
All in all, they come in good. I feel they did a good job for the county.
Yeah, they did a real good job.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Wilson? Thanks, Tom. We'll go to claims, Mr. Zeman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Claims Committee met twice last month, October 16th. We reviewed 56 claims. We forwarded 55 on to the board. One claim was rejected on an invoice issue, which we fixed quickly, and then we moved on from there. The next meeting was November 6th. 67 claims. We forwarded all 67 to the county board. And these minutes are in the onboard. That's it.
Any questions or comments for Mike? Thanks, Mike. We'll go to finance, Mr. Sheeline.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee met last Thursday. Your financials are in your packet, and the things coming out of finance are, of course, on the agenda. So I'll defer those later on. Last month, our treasurer was going to make some comments in regards to the closeout of tax season. Paul, you weren't able to say anything last month for a reason. Would you like to make some comments tonight?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry I couldn't be there last month. So I wanted to give you guys an overview. We're finalizing our tax year, and a tax year actually goes over a 2-year span. You start with an assessment for 2023 and you collect it in 2024. We did that. So at the end of October, we've collected $85.9 million worth of taxes. That does not stay in the county. Only 8.7 of that stayed in the county. So for everybody who's here and even our guests, I want you to understand the county is only maybe 10% of your total tax bill. So the rest of that was distributed out to school districts, to municipalities, fire departments, drainage districts, library systems, all different places like that. So we're through that. Everything balanced out. We did a fantastic job with my team. I shout out to them to handle that in a short period of time. That runs May through October for the most part of when we're collecting. So yeah, it's a good season to be done. Any questions about the property tax or, yeah, Bob?
I got one. I think you overstated the income. Is that correct?
What do you mean?
We were 9,000 off on the.
That's not property. Yes. So if you want to, so in our budget from last year for sales tax and property tax and even some fees, a little over $12 million. We did a budget of a little over 12.2 million. We'll come in $9,736 over that. So in our budgeting process, we were 0.00083% off, meaning we have a system in place. We understand what we're looking for. We know our processes, and I think they came in fairly good this time.
Awesome job.
Yeah. So shout out to the finance team and my team for making that happen.
Yep.
So any questions, any other comments? Thanks, Jim, for letting me get up here this time instead of last month.
Absolutely.
All right.
And also, just for people's information, Reed, stand up. I will introduce you to the folks at home, and this is Reed Mitchell, our finance director. He just finished up his first year with us, and Reed has been integral in helping us put together the budget and doing the heavy lifting on the second floor to keep the county's finances in check and reported correctly and all that. So appreciate your work in the last year. That's all I have. I want to also thank, since we're wrapping up the year, I want to thank Liram for the service on the finance committee all these years. And I also want to thank the rest of the finance committee members for the work that they put in through the budget cycle and get us wrapped up to this point tonight. So
how many meetings do you have on the budget cycle? What do you?
Well, I lost track. And of course it depends on, because as chairman, I work with the department heads and the whole thing, but probably around 13, something like that. 13. Yeah. And so the process starts in July. So it's like, I always kid, we get the budget passed, and we take a breath for a month, and then it seems like we start the process all over again. So those of you that thought you missed something this year, guess what? We'll be right back doing it again. So you really didn't miss anything. So we'll be right at it again. So that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for Jim?
And those budget meetings, they are open to the public, so any of these folks and county board members can attend.
Open to the public and also streamed on Zoom and totally compliant with OMA.
Okay. And I think they're YouTube as well, correct? They go back.
Right.
Yeah, I think
there's
a
license. I think there's a license plate camera in the room too. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
What did you say?
Mike, did you have something?
Jokes.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. Thanks, Jim. Executive committee, the minutes are in your agenda packet on your onboard. Does anybody have any questions for executive? If none, we'll keep moving on. Board of Health, Ms. White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Health met this month on November 12th. Your notes from the meeting are in your onboard. There's a couple things I do want to point out, please. So our administrator is Kathy Ferguson Allen, and she will be serving as a mentor for a statewide new to public health residency, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And another thing I'd like to note is our various department heads don't get enough recognition for their expertise in what they do and their very hard work. So on that note, I'm very proud to acknowledge our administrator at the Board of Health, Lee County Health Department, Kathy Ferguson Allen. She was recently inducted into the Illinois State University College of Applied Science and Technology Hall of Fame. There's only 8 inductees this
Wow.
year, so that's an honor that she got nominated. So if we could give her a hand. Congratulations, you deserve it. Also, just one other thing to know is the Department of Health was fighting a very complex TB case. And when I say complex, I mean really complex. It's not easy, especially with TB. And the Illinois Department of Public Health congratulated our team specifically on their efforts and work to minimize the risk for this project as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Katie?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. 911 Board, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In addition to the report that's already been provided in the packet for review by Director Dallas, fiscal year 2024-25 budget has been held over for approval at the November meeting, which is November 25th. Telecommunicator Laura Enlow's retirement date is set for December 1st, and another telecommunicator has submitted his resignation effective December 1st. The new telecommunicator replacing Laura Enlow has been in training over the past month and most likely will complete the training process by mid-spring. An additional telecommunicator interviews took place earlier this week, hoping to have an additional hire by mid-December or by the 1st of January at the latest. Next meeting is scheduled for Monday, November 25th, 2024 at 3:30 PM at the Lee County 911 Center. That's the end of my report, sir.
Any questions or comments for Keen? Thanks, Keen.
Thank you, sir.
We'll go to Tri-County Opportunities Council, Mr. Acree.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Tri-County Opportunities Council met the evening of October 24th down in Princeton. A work commitment didn't allow me to be able to attend, but the minutes you'll find in the packet here are pretty complete. Our next meeting is the evening of November 26th here in Sterling, so I'll be attending that one fashion or other.
Right.
Any questions?
Questions or comments for Reed? Thanks, Reed. We'll go to Blackhawk Hills Regional Council, Lee Ogle Enterprise Zone, Ms. Shippard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jonathan, are you able to pull up that website? So this is the Blackhawk Hills Regional Council website. And what they do, a big part, is provide data for a regional section. You can see kind of the shadowing of the counties up top there. What they did recently was go through and redo some of their goals. And the nice part about this website is that you can go on, there's data and reports, it gives various economic data too. So what does an average household income look like? And it compares county to county. And also there's job reports there, kind of county to county. I just feel that it's a helpful resource and tool as people are looking at how we can be competitive against other counties in similar sizes. So I just wanted to point that out. I hope you guys do get on there and look at their data. They had a great post-COVID-19 report as well that we covered maybe even a year ago, and that should still be on the website if you want to look at that. So thank you.
There's a wealth of information on there. I agree. Any questions or comments for Angie? Thanks, Angie. Lacita, Mr. Acree again.
Lacita did not meet this month, but we'll be meeting here in Dixon on December 4th. So hopefully I plan to have a report next month.
Thank you. Surma, Mr. Zima.
Yeah, thank you. Surma met last month. I attended a quarterly meeting. I attended that down in Bloomington. For our audience, Surma is our risk management pool that we are involved with. We we're a charter member of that pool some 20-some years ago. And it's risen from like 4 counties to like 25 different organizations, counties, small towns. Really good organization, and it's a big part of the budget, Jim. I know you hate seeing the bill for it, but they do a really good job. And cheaper than going outside to other organizations. So we should definitely keep up with this. It's a good organization. But I don't have anything to report from the meeting, but we had a meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Any comments or questions, Mike? Thank you. UCCI, Mr. Kitson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Mike's point, for those of you who aren't familiar with the acronyms, UCCI is United Counties Council of Illinois, which is our reach out, if you will, to government and so forth. I was there Monday in Springfield for the meeting. It was a preliminary getting ready for the training for new board members that'll take place on January 27th in Springfield. And if you've never been to it, I recommend you go. It's the do's, the don'ts, the what ifs, the how do you do this, how do you get around, make things work and so forth. And a good note is, you'll appreciate this, Jim. UCCI is doing very well this year. They'll be funding our dues 100% again. And they're looking at starting to cover some of our expense if we stay overnight down there. They've got money in the budget for that, so. And that's my report.
Tom, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but there's 60-something counties out of the 102 belong to that organization. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think, Bob, it's up to 68 now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and we are the smaller counties.
Yep.
Big counties aren't in there, but yeah.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Kitson? Thanks, Tom. Illinois Association of County Board Members, Mr. Copine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since November's more than half over with, I made contact with Kelly just to check on Senate bills, House bills and everything. I have about 12 pages here of about 106 combined Senate and House bills that were reviewed and gone over. Kelly Murray is the director of the Illinois Association of County Board Members, and she made requests that I pass on to the county board chairman and the county administrator. The battery backup program that is out there that we're going to experience through the wind and solar organizations that are out there. She said the movement for that battery backup program is starting to escalate quite rapidly, and she recommended that we start researching or developing an ordinance regarding the battery backup. She's going to forward me information that was discussed down in Springfield, and as soon as I get that, I'll pass it on. But she wanted the chair and the administrator to be aware of it, as well as the rest of the county board members that will be receiving knowledge from time to time. And other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for Mike? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll move on down to unfinished business. We have the Lee County Health Department Food Ordinance. We held it over October, which we do with every ordinance. Is there a motion to approve the Lee County Health Department Ordinance Code revisions to Title IV, Public Health and Safety, and Title VIII, Water and Sewer? Ms. Naylor moves. Katie seconds it. Sorry, couldn't think of your last name. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
Abstain,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
One abstain. Okay. Motion carried. Thank you. We'll move down to the 2024 year 25 levy ordinance. It's been held over since October. Is there a motion to approve the 2024 for year 25 levy ordinance? Ms. Shippard?
Yes, I actually motioned to suspend the rules because I would like to discuss potential changes to the levy.
All right. We got a motion to suspend. Ms. Scrogstad seconds it. So what she's doing now is she's suspending the rules. The rules are normal board rules. So anytime we suspend this, we need to vote on whether we should do that or not. Whether we should do that, it requires a supermajority of 2/3 of the members. So we'll have to do a roll call vote to suspend the rules to what she wants to do with the levy. So I'll instruct Nancy to do a roll call vote. Carly, is that correct or?
Mr. Chairman, is there a reason for suspension?
Is there yeah, do we discuss?
Yes,
before
I'm
we
sorry.
vote on the
Yes.
suspension?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so within the levy, there is a way to capture the new business that's coming into town, to capture that tax rate without capturing the additional funds that we want to have from our citizens. The proposed $11 essentially per citizen. We would remove that. In addition to what we would need to do with the levy, we would also need to amend the budget as well. I believe that we do need to do this because we've got citizens, as evidenced by these pages of property taxes, along with complaints that we saw last year. We had everybody coming into our assessment office. Granted, we collect for more than just ourselves. But people are definitely feeling the pain. And I think that we should try to do what we can and not give this additional increase. And that's why I want to suspend the rules, because we could amend these things and then pass it today without suspending pay for our county employees, basically.
Any other comments? Mr. Sheeline.
We started the process in July. There was opportunity from July, August, September, October to talk about what was included both in the levy and also as we constructed the budget. We had as individual department heads, we had them come in and explain what their budget requests were. Well, I should back up, because actually the process starts for the department heads, it starts in June. And the forms go out, the department heads put in the requests. Those are compiled. They're initially presented to the finance committee. The finance committee then here's this year, the process we use this year is then the department heads come in, explain what their requests are. We go line by line. Angie, line by line. And those things are challenged, changes, head counts, everything is put together carefully. Mm-hmm. When we do the levy, that is matched up with the budget, and we come up with and we present a balanced budget. I understand the concern when and I don't want to be argumentative. I get it. I don't like the property tax system myself. I'm a farmer. We pay farmers pay a lot of property taxes, as Mr. Book very well knows. And one of the things that, you've heard me talk about consistently is how we have moved the dependence on property taxes from the county perspective, where I think when I was first sitting next to Tim Bivens back when he was a sheriff in the back of the room, we were probably, I would guess, 80% dependent, at least on property taxes at that time. That's completely changed. We're probably down to about 50%, what would it be, Paul? About 54% of our revenues is property tax. significant change. So we don't have near the reliance on property taxes that we used to. The budget is part of it. About 85% of the budget is salaries. So when you talk about cutting back the budget, I'm going to ask you where you want to cut. What positions do you want to reduce? And it's hard to do that here at the last second, at the last meeting that we have before we pass the budget. So I guess that's my response. I'm opposed to the resolution. And I guess I'll conclude my comments.
I have one question. Go ahead, Tom. My question is, when were the finalizations posted for the levy?
The levy was posted 30 days in advance of the Truth and Taxation meeting per statute. That was posted online, as well as we posted it in the newspaper per our publications criteria and statute as well.
Thank you, Jeremy. So, you know, until the end of the process, my question is, do people have a real look when that's posted? Do they have a real look and a shot at being there all through July till now?
Well, every meeting is public and everything.
Yes, absolutely. Every meeting's public and everybody has jobs, but I'm saying, I don't know if people consider the real impact until the 30 days before when it's posted. That's just the point I'm trying to make.
Understand. Right now, we're debating the supermajority to suspend the rules. So let's try to keep it to that part, and we'll still talk about the levy as we go. But I'd like to ask Paul to come up and explain the P-tax to us, or Reed, whoever you would like to throw under the bus. But just so everybody understands P-tax and how and why we're doing this, I guess. We got a lot of.
Correct. So P-tax was voted by the Lee County citizens in 96, 97. It is basically a limitation law for taxes, tax extension limitation law, property tax extension. That's PTEL. It says you have a maximum of 5% or the CPI, whichever is lower. That CPI is reviewed and looked at as of December of the previous year, which is December of 23. The CPI for that December of 23 was 3.4%. So the maximum that you can get for existing properties within that is 3.4%. What we're looking to do here.
What is the CPI?
It's Consumer Price Index. It's inflation. As all of you go to the grocery store, you've seen your groceries are expensive. Well, so are your supplies. So is anything at the hardware store. So is anything at a restaurant. So is anything in construction. Your fertilizer for farming is more expensive. Well, that happens to hit the county as well. We actually have a couple of people in payroll, not in the payroll department, but that are on the payroll, that if we don't give them a raise by January 1st of 2025, we're actually in violation of the law because they don't make $15 an hour. I'd hate to go to somebody, and by the way, we have 190 some full-time employees. I don't know the exact number, but quite a few of them make less than $40,000 a year. So we are doing a pretty good job of, keeping our costs down. Now, back to the sorry, got off on a tangent. So the PTEL on the 3.4%, what that really is looking at is last year's tax was 8.7. I think it was in the levy up there. So 3.4% increase is really $297,000 spread out over 28,000 different parcels. There's over 28,000 different parcels that we collect on in Lee County. So that's the $11 that somebody has thrown out on an average assessed value of 150,000. We're looking at $11.82 increase. What we're also looking at is with our new construction of $45 million, we have the opportunity to collect that as well on top of it. That's another $382,000. So when you combine those two, the 382 and the 297, you come up with the 680. $680,000 more over the 8.7 that we got last year is the 7.7% increase. But realizing that is a number of combined of new and existing properties. It's not everybody's rate goes up by that. On top of the fact that, again, Lee County is less than or about equal to 10% of your total tax bill.
I got one more question. If we don't capture the new construction, what happens to that?
Well, if you don't capture the new construction, even if you don't capture the CPI, let's go there first. You in PTEL's laws, you can never capture that again. So not only are you not capturing the $297,000 this year, you can never capture it again. PTEL law was set up to limit, but what it also does is it limits your ability to pay for in times of inflation, to pay your expenses. So we are capped and we are working at that cap. And we have labor contracts where we're paying, our police, we have to pay them a raise every year based on that contract. And that's more than the CPI of the last couple of years, because that's what the market drives. When we talk about cutting, are we talking about defunding the police? Is that what you guys are wanting? I don't want it. And that's not really what we should be doing. Now, I'm putting a little of my own spin on this, right? But I think somebody's got to say it, that we aren't, we have no pork, if you will, in this budget. We are very lean. We keep things lean. We stretch dollars as much as we can. Reed is here now and he's looking at every little bit, trying to figure out where we can save a buck here and there. And he's done a fantastic job doing that. So I just want to make sure you guys understand what PTEL, and when you talk about stopping it, it happens every year after. It's a perpetual loss if you lose it. So just my spin on it, my take.
All right. Thank you for explaining that. I just thought
Yeah.
that was appropriate.
Yeah, no problem.
Mr.
I move the previous question.
All right. Call for a vote.
So to clarify for everybody, that's a vote. Can I do this? Can I say this?
Yes.
It's a vote on whether we're going to vote on suspend the rules.
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. And it takes a 2/3 majority.
Can I ask a question for
Yes.
Jim?
Yeah.
No.
Well, question had been called unless the.
Yes. Questions be called, he'd have to. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Everybody understand what we're voting on?
Say it. Can you
Okay.
say it again? We'll start with Wilson,
I can't.
Zeman,
No.
Acree,
No.
Bivens,
No.
Book,
Yes.
Freel,
No.
Gascoigne. Yes, I'm sorry. Hudson,
No.
Huss,
Yes.
Kitson,
No.
Coopeen,
No.
Minimi,
Yes.
Naylor,
No.
Pearson,
Yes.
Sheline,
No.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
No.
White,
No.
Olson,
No.
six, yep. Six no. We have one absent. 13, yes. 6 is 19.
13, yes. Charlie?
Yep.
Just so we're doing this right. Motion failed. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, so I have 13 no and 6 yes, 1 absent.
So motion failed. So now we go back to levy. Or do I have a motion to approve the levy? Ms. Naylor, Ms. Wilson seconds it. Any discussion on this? Mr. Bivens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to thank the folks that came tonight. I do appreciate your involvement, that you're here, and I wish more people would get involved in their government. One thing that wasn't said about those budget meetings, and when the department heads submit their budgets, they don't get what they want. Because when they initially submitted them, we were over $1 million over our proposed budget. So there was $1 million cut from the requests that were made. So there were cuts. I learned a long time ago, while I was in Springfield, that a no vote is pretty easy to justify, but when you vote yes, it takes a little more explanation. And I never voted for a tax increase the 10 years I was in Springfield, because not that I wouldn't have, I could have, if there had been 3 criteria met, and that would be a balanced budget, no wasteful spending, and a justifiable need. So needless to say, I voted against all budgets because none of those were met. The last budget that they had there was 33 billion in revenue, and they were trying to spend 36 billion. And today it's about 56 billion. So that's how rapidly in 6 years they've grown in the state. And believe me, there's plenty of waste. And as you move up to the federal level, we all know what goes on there with waste. This county budget, however, has met all those criteria. The budget presented is balanced. There's no wasteful spending, and the need exists. So about the need. The state continues to place mandates on the county that require expenditures. They've increased salary for some elected officials. The Safety Act that was passed will cause the county to spend more money to be spent on our judicial system. While at the same time, they reduce the amount of money that we receive from the state. Aside from that, one of the biggest drivers of increased spending has been for employee wages the last 2 years. And many would say, well, the employees shouldn't get a raise. And you heard our treasurer comment that you can get a part-time job at $15 an hour. So it is a dilemma. Within our sheriff's department, we had a dilemma that's been there for many, many years, in that they were getting paid thousands of dollars less than other departments. Now, government, we're not competing with private industry, but we are competing with other municipalities and other counties. And we were hemorrhaging employees in the sheriff's department. And as you can imagine, the overtime costs were phenomenal. And it was much cheaper to hire employees. It would be much cheaper, but the other problem is we couldn't retain those employees because of the salaries. And our employees were being stolen by other police departments and sheriff's departments. So a decision had to be made. And for anyone in business, you know how hard it is to find and keep employees. And that's been going on for quite some time, for a number of years. It's not getting any easier. So at some point in time, you have to make a decision. And you have to decide, are we going to keep employees? Are we going to be able to hire employees? And that requires an increase in their salary. So last year, through negotiations, we spent about $1 million to retain employees in the sheriff's department. And this year we had, for a lot of our clerks, we just had negotiations and we're spending money there too. As I say, it is a difficult time, but and this was ignored for many years, and I don't think anybody was on this board when it was going on, but for many years, employees fell behind. And at some point, and unfortunately, this is the point in time where it came home to roost and we have to pay for it. We can comment all we want about, how much we appreciate our employees, but at some point in time, you have to pay them too, if you want to keep them, if you want to hire them. And that's kind of where we're at. So again, thank you for everybody that's coming. You may not agree with me, and I speak for myself and not for the entire board, but thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well said. Thank you. Ms. Shepherd.
Thank you, Tim. I just want to comment that I reject the notion that we would in any sort of way want to defund our police or our public safety or even go after our employees' salaries. When you look through the budget and, for example, you see the line item of trainings and conferences, like a person brought up, I understand we need to train our people. Can we figure out, for example, this is just an example, a way to do that differently? And I know we're arguing, at the 11th hour. I also want to say that I just reject the notion that we're providing a balanced budget. Yeah, we're going to balance based on increased taxes so that it balances the levy and the budget. So I understand that our employees may not be paid at even the wages they, let's say, deserve or want them to, but we also have to look at the people in our county that are probably struggling, probably at that same median income. I'm not sure. So those are the things that I just want to call out as we go forward and vote. And now at this point, I think if we do vote no, I don't know what the options are. Let's, maybe everybody's going to vote yes, I don't know. But if we did vote no, would we then go without passing anything and people would be without pay? That's why I wanted to suspend the rule so that we could have alterations, but I don't know what's to go from here.
I think if we vote no at this point, we'll have a recess and we'll reconvene. We'll talk and decide how we move forward at this point. But we need to have a balanced budget approved today or to move forward. So any other discussion? We got a first and a second discussion on the levy. I'll call, you want to do roll call?
Zeman,
Yes.
Acree,
Yes.
Bivens.
Yes.
Book,
Yes.
Freel,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Huss,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Minimi? Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
No.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Motion carried. We'll move down to the budget, the 2025 budget ordinance. It's been held over since October. Is there a motion to approve the year 25 budget? Mr. Kitson moves, Mr. Wilson seconds it. Now, any discussion? Any discussion at all? Seems like we beat it up pretty bad. All right, I think we'll call for a roll call vote.
Acree,
Yes.
Bivens.
Yes.
Book,
Yes.
Freel,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Huss,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Minimi,
Yes.
Naylor. Yes. Pearson,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
No.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. All right, motion carried. We'll move on to new business. Need a resolution authorizing the appellate prosecutor services. Is there a motion to approve this resolution authorizing the appellate prosecutor services? Mr. Hudson moves and Ms. Baylor seconds it. Any discussion on this? We all know what we're voting on. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to B, IEMMAS, authorizing membership in mutual aid systems response resolution. Do I have a motion to approve this? Mr. Friel moves, Mr. Copine seconds it. Any discussion on this? Everybody understand what we're voting on? No questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Nope. Motion carried. Thank you. We'll go to C, prayer at public meetings with invocation policy resolution. Is there a motion to approve the prayer at public meetings resolution with the invocation policy? Mr. Friel moves, Mr. Wilson seconds it. Any discussion on this?
No question.
Yes. Shepherd.
What's just at the heart of this policy?
I guess I had a email about it, whether we were doing it correct, and yes, thank you. Jeremy.
Sure. We had a complaint filed through UCCI in regard to our invocations, stating that we were not meeting the guidelines that were set forth by the United States government. So we had to make sure that we set forth a resolution as well as a policy to meet those guidelines by the Supreme Court. And that's what you see before us.
Just to note, we weren't doing anything illegal, correct, Charlie? We were doing it as was said, but we just thought it'd be cleaner to have a resolution to show we're doing. Yes, Ms. Sherbert.
So if we vote yes, we can pray? Or
Yes, for praying.
if we vote yes, we can have the prayer?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so this is just a policy stating that this is a inclusive, you're open to all religious aspects if they want to come and do an invocation. There is now a sign-up policy that is created for that. If there are no requests, it is up to the board chair to assign the invocations. And that's essentially what's in that policy.
So we do all denominations and
Correct.
just make sure everybody
has the opportunity.
So we can continue as we are doing currently. Yes, Ms. Shepherd.
If, for example, something would be against my faith, can I leave the room, I assume?
You sure can.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, you can't. Just kidding.
Any other questions or comments? So we have a first, a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Zeman, or who opposed? Mr. Zeman? Yep. We'll note that. Motion carried. We have a resolution setting the county board meeting dates for fiscal year 2025. Is there a motion to approve these dates? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Wilson seconds it. Any discussion on these dates? If none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We also have a resolution setting forth the zoning ZBA meeting dates for fiscal year 2025. We're going to set the dates up. I think eventually we're going to move to a hearing officer, but let's set the dates and we'll go from there. So do I have a motion? Mr. Kitson moves, Mr. Hudson seconds. Any discussion on this? If none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We also have a resolution setting The Regional Planning Commission meeting dates for 2025. Do I have a motion to approve them? Mr. Friel moves, Ms. Naylor seconds it. Any discussion on them? Not all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. So now we have a board action request form, a budget adjustment for U of I extension. Is there a motion? Let's get a motion on the table and I'll let Mr. Sheeline explain to him. Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. Any discussion?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was something last year, in last year's budget. We cut extension by $10,000 and I had an email discussion with Carla that if the county ended up with excess funds at the end of the year, we'd try to restore that. And we did, and so we are. And that's what this is.
I like it. We're good. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So now we go to Lee County Maples Road Solar LLC Solar Farm Road Use Agreement. Is there a motion to approve the Maples Road Solar Road Use Agreement? Mr. Acree moves. Mr. Gascoigne seconds it. Any discussion on this agreement? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Shepherd. Motion carried. All right, now we have a resolution for the reappointment of Dave Anderson, solid waste coordinator for the county, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Gascoigne seconds that. Any discussion on Mr. Anderson? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have a resolution appointing Jeremy Steinmetz as trustee of Franklin Grove Fire District. Is there a motion to approve him? Ms. White moves, Mr. Acree seconds. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving down, I have no executive session tonight. I need a motion to approve the county officers' reports. Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Friel seconds it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the monthly revenue report, the claims paid in vacation and payroll paid? Mr. Kitson moves, Mr. Wilson seconds it. Any discussion on this? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Bob, that's roll
Oh,
call.
that is roll call. Sorry. I see it there. Just in a hurry to get out of here.
Bivens,
Yes.
Book,
Yes.
Friel,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Huss,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Minimi,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Sheeline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scroggstead,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carried. We need approval of board member mileage and per diem. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Friel moves, Mr. Kitson seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before I get a motion to adjourn, I want to congratulate Jeremy on finishing his first year with the county. He's done an awesome job. He did mention to me before the meeting, he wanted to reach out and buy everybody alcoholic or non-alcoholic drinks after the meeting. He said he'd support that, so. Celebration, so. All right, so I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Wilson moves. Yes.
Makes the motion.
Liam?
Last time.
Yes.
Yes. Liam makes a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Wilson. Thank you, Liam. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.